I'll be the first person to admit that I'm relatively picky when it comes to championship belts in pro wrestling. I think there's certain belts in WWE that look awesome, and obviously some others that I just don't really care for. And, I feel like when AEW came around, that kind of reignited my passion and love for the designs of championship belts, because I was very impressed by their World Championship belt, their TNT TBS Championship belt, the International Championship, and now obviously the Continental Crown Championship, which I think looks absolutely sexy. But the thing is, for me, championship belts along the way have kind of lost their touch, man. And I thought the Impact Wrestling Championship belts were nice, but obviously I feel like with AEW and WWE kind of introducing some cool stuff, I felt like there was room for improvement. So yesterday, TNA reveals the new X Division Championship belt, and I thought that was absolutely sexy because it took a little bit of inspiration from the old TNA X Division Championship belts and some of the newer stuff too. But today we got the tag team titles. And let me just preface this by saying I never cared about red straps on the belt. And maybe that has a lot to do with TNA back in the day, 2007-ish or whatever. They had the King of the Mountain Championship belt, and then they like the TV Championship belt. The red strap was so ugly. I thought the belt was ugly. And honestly, I never liked that championship belt. It's one of the worst ones in my opinion. But this one, man, this is exciting. This is the new TNA World Tag Team Championship belt. And everything from the detail on the main plates to the side plates, the size, the shape, obviously the signature red and yellow logo in the center. This is what we're talking about. Chris Bay and Ace Austin were presented their new tag team championship belts. And dude, I really, really love these tag titles. It is very rare that I like a colored strap on a belt. And that's honestly why I want to talk about it, because I never really cared about the idea for a white strap. I never really cared for the idea of a colored strap. And sometimes I like minimalism, like I don't need it to be too crazy detailed and whatnot. They're just, sometimes more is less, less is more, it just depends on the scenario. And if that doesn't make sense to you, let me explain why. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt, in my opinion, is a very good-looking belt. Obviously, WWE has to keep their logo in the center, but I like the fact that it resembles the big gold belt, right? But WWE introduced a white strap version of that belt for Rhea Ripley, and, I never really cared about colored straps, but for some reason, it just looks good together. Sometimes it could work, right? And this is one of those examples where I think it works. And I think it's relatively obvious that TNA is kind of sticking to a theme with their championship belts. Right above the TNA logo, it says Total Nonstop Action. That is the same thing that you see on the X Division Championship belt. But what I like is that these championship belts all have different shapes and sizes. I know some people have this criticism like, hey, these tag titles are a little too big. What about the World Championship? We're not even through with the full reveal. We still have to see the TNA Knockouts tag titles, the TNA Digital Media Championship, the Knockouts Championship, and then, of course, the World Championship. And I'm starting to really get the impression with this style that they're working with, I think that TNA World Championship, boy, I cannot wait to see it because I'm actually kind of excited. I'm gonna be honest. Let me just be very clear. I've been very happy about Impact turning into TNA. I'm happy about what they're doing with new production and new stages and stuff like that. They want to change the way people perceive their product. However, with championship belts, it's very hard for me to get excited about them in pro wrestling. New Japan Pro Wrestling came out with the NJPW TV Championship, right? NJPW World TV Championship. And I think that belt is ugly as shit, But then NWA, TNA, AEW, GCW, there's so many companies, and I feel like not every company has been able to get it right this far, right? Not consistently. I think there's only one company where I have seen every single championship belt from the bottom to the top look absolutely sexy, and that's actually Deadlock Pro Wrestling. So when I see New Japan, for example, and I see the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, I'm like, damn, that is cool. Like, that looks sexy, right? To me, it's cool, and it's a white strap. And again, I don't really care for colored straps, but sometimes they just work. So now I'm looking at these red straps on here, and I'm just like, man, it works. It fits with the globe. It fits with the logo, the yellow. I don't know what it is about these designs. like I said, it's so extremely interesting to me that I have never liked colored straps, and lately companies are finally starting to get it right. I really do like that IWGP Global Championship. I love the white strap with the design, and now I'm seeing this with the red strap, and I think it's very interesting. I'm going to predict that TNA Impact is going to have a white strap for the Knockouts division. It's very clear that these belts are going to be in unison. And I think that's great because that's actually my issue with WWE, right? Look at the SmackDown title belts, right? If you look at the U.S. Championship, I think it looks great, right? But you look at the Undisputed Championship, and I think it looks great, but it's the same design that WWE has been doing for years, just gold and whatever. And then they did the same exact thing, obviously, for Io Sky and the white strap. And, like, they look fine, right? But those are WWE merch sellers, right? That's WWE when they go to the Super Bowl and they hand somebody a championship belt. That's why they do it. When I see these TNA championship belts and I see the X division, I see the tag titles, I'm thinking, wow, they're kind of restoring the value and the feeling of what a championship belt is supposed to look like. I don't think the red strap makes it look like a toy. I think these just look legit. It's on par with their brand. And I think it actually looks different from other championship belts in wrestling, which is always a good thing. And for anybody who's watched TNA long enough to know, look how far they've come. You know what I mean? Look at the original TNA Tag Team Championship belts and look at what they are now. And I think it's evolved into something so much bigger. So very, very exciting stuff there, man. If you guys are a fan of pro wrestling championship belts, I really genuinely want to hear what you have to say about this. And you know, we'll see how the rest of the reveal goes. I will say, might as well just make this point very clear if you've made it to this part of the video. TNA should probably get rid of the Digital Media Championship. You know, Tommy Dreamer and Crazy Steve, it could be kind of fun, whatever, but the Digital Media Championship, it needs to be completely remade, and I hope maybe TNA, Scott D'Amore, presents the title and says, look, this is done with. You know, I think it would be a fun little rib on Tommy Dreamer, but hey, this is done with. We're retiring this belt, and we're going to have a different championship in place of it, whether it's a TV championship or something entirely new. I have the feeling that TNA will not do that. But if I was TNA, that's what I would do. Because their belts are looking sexy right now. And I feel like the Digital Media Championship hasn't really been booked the way I like, personally. So it would be cool if TNA gets rid of that. And then, of course, they put something else in place of it. And they could start really building that mid-card and taking it to the next level. But this is cool, man. And what's awesome is this tag team match at Hard to Kill is going to be a banger. So whoever walks out with those championship belts, they're walking out with something very pretty. Again, this is the look of the new tag team championship belts, and we had to talk about it. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.